With loads of business advice flooding the industry, it has never been harder to see the path to success. And you can't take action if you don't have clarity. Get clear on the actionable tips and strategies that will help to scale your business here on Masters in Clarity, the podcast that brings you clarity around messaging, business growth, digital marketing, personal development, and the business owner's journey to success. Let's join our guide, the master of turning clarity into action and lasting impact, Dolores Hirschmann.
I am so excited for my conversation with Sigrun. I've known Sigrun for a few years, and let me introduce her before I tell you more about what I'm looking forward to. Sigrun is a lifestyle entrepreneur, business strategist, and international speaker. As a leading business mentor for female online entrepreneurs in Europe, she's a TEDx speaker and host of the Sigruns Show podcast. She is on a mission to accelerate gender equality through female entrepreneurship. So I met Sigrun a few years ago at an event. We were in person, yes, before COVID. And I remember I was so impressed by her energy, by meeting with her and having a conversation with her. At the time, she announced she was going to launch the biggest event in Iceland for female entrepreneurs. She's originally from Iceland. She is based between Iceland and Switzerland, and she's a really big deal in the Europe ecosystem of coaches and strategists and mentors for female entrepreneurs. And here's what I'm dying to ask her. One of the things I've watched her through especially the last year and a half, is her commitment to really making launching an online product a fun and engaging experience. And I don't know if you are like me, but launching stresses me out. It gets me anxiety, makes me nervous. Like, I don't know, there's so many moving pieces. I'm always thinking I'm missing something or I'm doing something wrong. So if you are a female entrepreneur, if you are a woman committed to growing your business, your online business, and you've been worried about launching or you're trying to break through the next six-figure mark, then you must grab a cup of tea, maybe a coffee if it's early in the morning, and grab your notepad and sit down and listen to my conversation with Sigrun, because I'm going to ask her, how do we overcome the fear of launching? How do we kind of move our company forward in the ecosystem that we're living today, where everything is changing so fast? So grab that cup of tea and get cozy. I am so excited to welcome you, a dear friend, colleague that we've known from the previous COVID years when we could travel and hang out. We met in Arizona in 2019. So Sigrun is a lifestyle entrepreneur. She's a business strategist and international speaker. She's the leading mentor for female online entrepreneurs in Europe. She's a TEDx speaker, host of the Sigrun Show podcast, which I think you got some awards on that one lately. And she's on a mission to accelerate gender equality through female entrepreneurship. Sigrun, welcome to the Masters in Clarity podcast. I'm so excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here, so thank you for having me.
So let's start a little bit with the journey, right? Because today everything's clear. You know what you're doing. Your team is growing. You're like full on. But was it that way always? Where did all this come from?
I started my one-woman show. And I thought in the beginning, I was just going to have this small business where I would replace my previous income. I was a CEO for 10 years of small businesses. The largest business I run had 75 employees. My favorite size of business was around 20, 25 people. And never in a million years did I think I would grow my business. I think we are at 20 right now, and we're probably going to grow to 25 before end of the summer. So no, I started, and I think this is how most female-led service-based businesses start. It's just, it's more out of necessity. You've maybe lost a job or gone through some hardship somewhere. I don't know many women who start a business just because, oh, I want to start a business. Like there's something has happened, whether it's personal or business, corporate. They've had children or they've gone through a divorce, or in my case, I was sick for 7 months, and that made me think, do I really want to sit at a desk and work for other people and run other people's businesses when I'm not feeling well and I cannot control my own time? I also found myself in Switzerland. I'd fallen in love with a Swiss man. And suddenly I was like, I cannot take more than 20 days holidays. That's not the life I want to live, so far away from my family and my home country. So I started to think about, could I have my own business? But I didn't know what. But I saw, a few women having online businesses, traveling the world. I was following a woman who called herself Suitcase Entrepreneur. And it's funny, we're friends today, Natalie Sisson. I was like, yeah, this is possible. It must be possible. At least one woman is doing it. So that was the idea of, deciding my lifestyle, which was living in 2 countries, being able to travel and, take care of my health. And that was kind of the concept. I didn't know exactly what I would do, but I decided what I did not want to have and how I wanted to work. And that eliminates a lot of options already. The business coaching part, I was, a little bit like the guy in The Alchemist. I was like running around trying to figure out another business idea that was not so obvious. But often the most obvious ideas, even though you think they're somehow lame or everybody's doing it, and, this is business number 1,000 or million, why should I do it? Why should people come to me? That's still a business. It actually means there is a huge business opportunity if a lot of people are doing it. So I finally came to I became friends with this concept of, yes, okay, with my business background, doing an MBA and running a business for 10 years, I could be a business coach. I also been a Dale Carnegie trainer, so I had also coaching experience. And yeah, finally, I got to terms with it. And then I just started off thinking, well, I've run businesses before. I must figure this out. That took me about 9 months of avoiding actually hiring help. And I think there you can also save a lot of time. First of all, take the obvious business idea. It typically is the right one. And the second part, to get help. And after I finally got help, 9 months in business, there was a click in my mind. They're like, oh, this is how you sell online. Before, I had been wasting my time with creating a freebie, writing blog posts. And yes, these are important things to do in marketing, but you need to know how to sell, and selling needs to come a lot sooner. It should be the first thing you think about, like, how do I sell online? Because the first buyer is typically a friend of a friend or someone who already knows you. And then you can do the freebie and the blog post and all that stuff. So this is what I learned through my journey. And but after it clicked for me, I quickly made $55,000 in 3 months after I figured out how to make money online. And so my second year in business, I was already, well over 6 figures. And then my third year of business, I was 340,000. So with one-on-one coaching and group coaching, I got quite far. And then when I added a truly scalable online program in my 4th year of business, that was my $1 million year. And then I kept on growing from there. And I saw, now I'm aiming for the 8 figures.
Well, so let me just bring some, translate a little bit of what you said, because it's so important, especially for the market that we serve, female entrepreneurs, this permission to turn what you know, what you've been doing, how you've been hired before. Don't overthink it. Like, turn that into a business. Instead of having one boss that limits how much time you take off, now you are working for many people. You're diversifying your risk. You're still working, but you're now controlling who you work for and how you manage your time. So I think many of us women think that if we're going to start a business, we have to be so unique, so like out there that nobody's doing it. And I totally agree. I see this a lot on TEDx speakers. It's like, oh, I have to have an idea that is like earth-shattering. Like, well, no, you just have to reinforce maybe an idea that you do it differently. And so, yes, you're a business coach, Sigrun, but you're an exceptional business coach, and you are different from others. So So talk to me about how are you different from any other business coach?
Well, first of all, most business coaches do not actually have experience running a business. Did you know that?
That's right.
So that's kind of
one.
like, that's a big one. Yeah, I ran businesses for 10 years, other people businesses. I've done startups, mergers, fast growth, turnarounds. I did all of that. So I have this massive versatile business experience. And I was a CEO of small companies. So actually I had the actual experience of running, up to 70 people. That's my sweet spot, because there are a lot of business coaches out there. Yes, they have business experience, but they have been a corporate executive. They were a CEO in a big company. And that's very different from running a small company. And startups, it's so hard to start. There's this like, you're alone and you have to do everything. And then when do you hire the first person, when not, and setting up the business structure. I felt very fortunate that I had gone through this myself, even setting up the accounting for my own business, which I did myself because I wanted to make sure it was properly done. I had done this for another company. Mm-hmm. I was not doing it for the first time. So that I have an MBA from a top business school, London Business School. And on top of that, I guess it's my mission. I am not, even though I like making money and I teach people how to make money, I'm on a mission to accelerate gender equality. And I think that is that is what I'm meant to do. And I happen to do it through online business. I could have decided to do it some other way, be a politician or something, but I think it's more fun to do it for online business. I think online business is it's the smallest hindrance, like it's easiest to get started. A service-based online business, you need basically no money to get started. Of course, you should invest in some sort of help, and maybe you have to create a website and things like that. But it's really peanuts compared to a brick and mortar business or developing some products. I do actually have clients that do things like that, and I'm always thinking that's such a big investment. Like, it's scarier to start when you have to invest 10 or 20,000 just like that before you have your first client. Yeah. So service-based online business is perfect for women, as it is not so scary to get started. And I truly believe anyone can do it.
And so let's talk about that, because your focus is on women, of course, and it's about gender equality, empowering women to own their financial future, their financial life, to control, their economics. Are your clients women who have not yet started a business? Are they already running a business? Who's your ideal client, and what does that journey with you look like?
Yeah, I wanted to add to the previous question of like, okay, what's different? So because I have 4 master's degrees myself and this long CEO experience, I tend to attract women that are highly educated, very experienced. They come from corporate, or they have been an entrepreneur for a decade or longer, and they are stuck. They don't know how to scale their business. They're stuck in a one-on-one business model. So my uniqueness comes also in the scaling part. When I started my own business, I knew that I wanted to scale. Now, in my first year of business, it was all about just getting to 6 figures. Once I had figured that out, I'm like, now I know how to double it. It is always the hardest, the first 6 figures. After that is easy. It's the same with the million. The first million is the hardest. Now it's like you can get $1 million in a month versus a year, and then it's going to be a week at some point. So they are highly educated, highly experienced. They've had success. But the problem is when we've had success, and I felt it myself, it's kind of harder to ask for help, and it's hard to go back down. It's almost like you have to take a few steps back and become the beginner. Just imagine if you know how to ski and you want to learn a snowboard. I tried it and I didn't like the falling. So I was like, I'll go back on skis. So to me, it's a similar feeling. It's women who had success in their career, whether they worked for someone else or for themselves. And they come to this point of like, I want to scale, or I want to go online instead of offline. And there's this feeling of like, I know nothing. And it's very frustrating. So this is my ideal client. I do also have women who have lesser education and lesser experience, but overall, they've had success before. And they come to me at the very beginning, but also later on. So I've decided to have several levels. Basically, I have one ideal client. They're just in different stages of their business journey. And I have a program where I take them through a 10-week period where it's kickstart. I kickstart their online business journey. So after 10 weeks, they have built their email list, they have figured out their ideal client, their messaging, they've built their first course, and they've made sales. And this is a breakthrough for them. Maybe they've tried it for a whole year. Maybe they were like me, struggling to figure out doing some freebie and not having any traction. And then we get this massive traction in a short amount of time. And then I figured out, now they have to learn how to sell the course with a proper launching methods. So I created another 10-week intensive. So my method is a little bit different from other people who teach online. Most online courses is they teach you how to do something. You don't actually do it in the course.
Okay.
So I have implementation courses. I give my students just enough information every week, just what they need to do. And then the following week, they just get enough information and to do what? Because what I've seen with women, and this tend to be a female problem more than a male problem, is overwhelm.
Yes.
The word overwhelm, stuck, don't know what to do, feel lost. And I'm like, let's first of all stop using those words and say instead, I don't know yet. What are the next steps? Can you clarify? Instead of using these negative words, you make it worse for yourself. So I was like, okay, if they're overwhelmed, because I had created the other courses where I give them all the information. You could do a freebie, you could do this, you could do that. That's not good. Yeah. The possibilities are endless, and that creates the overwhelm. They look around and say, where should I start? What should I do next? What's the best steps? And since they cannot figure that out themselves, I decided I'll take information away and limit the amount of information they get. Of course, they can get all the information later, but in that beginning, especially those who are in their first 6 months or 1 year of business, it is best if it's laid out step by step, limited amount of information, just enough, and you just focus on what you need to do every week. Once they're over that, after women have gone through these 2 10-week programs, I have a 12-month group coaching program where my goal is to get them to 6 and then 200, 250,000. That's the goal, like 10 to 20,000 a month income. And that's repetition. It's not necessarily new information. It's repetition, because knowledge is not the problem. We know all that. We can read books. We can do online courses. The knowledge is never the problem. It's actually doing it. And then for my, high achievers, those who really want to go for the million, I said, I have to create a program for them too. And I decided to call it Red Circle, because red is my favorite color.
I can tell. That's amazing. And so let me ask you a couple of questions, because I think COVID has changed a lot of things, and in the online world, it's become very noisy and very crowded. And I follow you. I know you. I know you're really successful in teaching and kind of guiding people through online launches. And there's so much information, misinformation, programs out there that tell you, like, you buy this program and else you'll launch and you'll get your money back. And it doesn't usually work out that way. And also, I know from my clients, I know from my experience that sometimes for women, launching creates a whole emotional journey of dread. And I've had a client who said, I want to throw up. And how do you help women navigate the launch, especially on a world where Facebook ads are incredibly expensive? So how do you get traffic and get something to really work for women that are just starting?
Yeah, that's why I created this launch program. And it's interesting that I didn't have a launch program all these years, because I love launching, and launching is something I've been doing now over 7 years. So I created this launch program, and I realized, okay, first of all, I just have to pick one launch method that I know works. Because if you hear about all the methods, again, overwhelmed, stuck, lost, all these horrible words that make it worse for ourselves. So I pick one launch method that I know that works, that I've been using over the years. And then we guide them through, and then I help them. We put up I don't really call it a sales page, but we put all the programs, well, actually workshops. So I tell everyone to do the same thing and they all have to do it at the same day. So for instance, this summer, June 10th, I have 100 women doing a workshop the same day. Now, this benefits them and me in many ways because I can promote, hey, here are 100 workshops you could participate in. Pick one that you like. So I bring my participants signups. Then they promote each other because I'm telling them this is collaboration. This is not just about you getting signups. You need to help your, colleagues also get signups because there might be a friend of yours that's not interested in what you teach, but interested in what some other teaches. So they get organically signups.
That's
on
awesome.
top of that, we do teach some Facebook ads. And I have a Facebook ad coach on the team. And this was really missing in programs that I saw a few years ago, but I see a lot of others have picked this up as well. So we have a Facebook ad coach and she's on it. And it's challenging for those who have never run ads before. They've never even promoted a workshop before. But, I just tell them to go for it. Whatever happens, like you have to go through it. It's like the snowboard example. You're not going to be a good snowboarder on day one. You're going to fall down the hill and on day two. So the first time you run Facebook ads, it's not going to be great, but it's better you do it and learn something from it and you get some signups. Yeah. So that's how you get started. Facebook ads have gotten really tricky. I've lost 2 Facebook ad accounts. I'm personally banned from doing ads. My page is banned. Like it's gone crazy. But I tell everyone it should not deter you from trying because there's always a way. I just went ahead and created a new page. We're running ads. So there's always a solution out there. And we gotta, dip our toes into the water and try it out. And ads are not that expensive if you do it properly. And that's what they need to learn. And it takes a lot of testing, of course. But yeah, just step by step and all doing it at the same time, because that's also where everyone is feeling the same. The emotions come up. And of course, if you launch for the first time, it's stressful, but you have always someone to turn to, a shoulder to cry on, and then you can celebrate that you actually did it. I have this thing I post in the group, like, how proud are you of yourself that you did your very first workshop? Show me with a GIF. And then I see the whole GIF, library come up, and it makes me really proud to just have women do all these firsts. It's the first workshop, first Facebook ad, first Facebook Live, and I love it. And then at the same time, I'm in another program helping someone have their first multiple 6-figure launch.
Yeah. I mean, what I love what you're saying, and I love that you're focusing on women, because it's just about, it doesn't matter how you do the business thing, we still have to do it. And parts of it are fun and parts of it are very intimidating and overwhelming. But you've done such a great job of building community around it, where you can tell, and how you talk about your ladies, there's a passion behind it. And you're a family. And families are doing something challenging together. And it's just so much easier knowing that you're not the only one who didn't get the email right, or you're not the only one who got, a workshop with 3 signups or whatever it is, right? And that it's just the first time you ride the bike. So I love that. So let me ask you this question. Because in Masters in Clarity, our company, we help people master their own clarity. And and I know that people, especially women, that's just a part of women, is like, they need to know everything before they take action. And sometimes that hurts because, and I know that, action sometimes brings clarity. It's not, clarity doesn't always, or most times, doesn't come from a vacuum. It comes from being in the field and trying and testing. So how much clarity do you, Sigrun, personally need to take action?
I actually don't need a lot. I don't need a lot. I actually use this as an example. So I wanted a Peloton, and Peloton does not ship to Iceland nor to Switzerland. And I happen to live in both places. And since I am spending most of the time in Iceland right now, because of COVID and because I bought a new place, I wanted it here. And when the computer says no, it's not possible, I'm like,
Oh, cool.
I'm
Challenge.
like, I want it even more. And if I was the person that has to know everything before I do it, I would figure out how to transport it to Iceland before I buy it. I didn't.
But you're not that person.
No, because I know it delays the whole process. And I am certain, I'm confident I'll figure it out. It might be complicated, it might be expensive, but I will not make that deter me from doing it because I want this bike. So I order the bike and it says 7 to 8 weeks order time. I asked a friend of mine who lives in northern Germany if I can ship it to his place because Peloton does also not want to ship to a shipping company. That would be the easiest. Also, they don't want to ship in a box. They want to install it at your place. So more hurdles on the way. And I'm like, okay, I ship it to my friend. He lives half an hour away from the harbor. So that's perfect. And then I asked my friend, does he know anyone who can build a box for me? He finds a carpenter 2 kilometers away. And the carpenter picks up the bike at his place and takes it to his place and builds a wooden box around.
Without disassembling it.
Yeah, it's the bike comes, the bike is already put together except the big monitor is not on top and the big monitor is in a box. Yep. So he just gets it like that, but they did not want to leave a box around the bike, which I think is ridiculous, but anyway, it is what it is. So this carpenter builds a box, a wooden box. That was another $250, but I thought that's okay. And then the shipping company that I found picks up the bike from the carpenter in the wooden box. And it went on the ship. And as we're speaking, it is on the ship on the way to Iceland. When it arrives in Iceland, I have to order a big car to ship the box to my home. I have to open up the box on the street because I live in an apartment building. So someone has to bring up the Peloton. But if you think about all of this, I think most people just don't do it. It's like, it's not important, then import it, then I'll don't do it. So the same with my Self-Made Summit, which is finally happening next year. I've had to postpone it twice because of COVID.
I remember the day you announced it. We were in Arizona when you said, I'm doing this.
Yeah, I'm so excited. That was November 2019.
Yes.
Yeah, but I've had to postpone it twice and I'm fine. I've made no financial losses, very few refunds. Everybody's willing to wait. And I booked the venue. When I booked the venue originally, that was 1.5 years before the first date where it was supposed to happen. And I had not decided what the conference was about, the name of it, who was going to come, who was going to speak. I booked the venue because I knew when you book the venue, you're going to have to figure it out. So I came up with this saying, put a date on your dream. The rest is logistics.
I love that. Well, so we have a Peloton event coming up. There's going to be the Peloton unveiling. I'm not sure where this recording is going to go live, but we'll make sure that it's before the Peloton. And we have a huge event, June 2022 in Iceland that I am going to go. I'm making a commitment right now to be there. I want to go to Iceland, so, why not make a whole trip around it? So let's just reinforce this. What else are you excited in the next 12 months? So in the next 12 months, you're going to have your event and you're going to have your Peloton. What else are you looking forward to in the next 12 months?
Well, I am growing my team. So I am looking forward to changing my business and possibly business model a little bit. I've talked about Facebook ads being tricky. I see some disruption coming up. I cannot tell you exactly. Sometimes this is like you feel it's bubbling in your head. So I feel there is some changes coming to my business in a good way because I want to make things easier for myself, for my team, for my clients, and whatever that is, that will be, unraveled in head. But what I'm most excited about actually right now is I am running this training, online business summer school. And we were talking just before you hit record that I am very frustrated about women taking a break in the summer. And actually, how it all started in 2017, I created my first scalable program, and that was my first $1 million year. And I was very proud. I created 12 modules. It was supposed to be a 1-year program because I thought the short 6, 8, 10-week programs was not good enough. I have actually learned my lesson. People don't want 12-month programs necessarily. They want intensive short spurts like of energy, and then they want to take a bit of break. Anyway, I create this program. I have people in the program, and then it comes spring 2018. So it's about year and a half into my scalable program. And I'm so proud of the content I'm creating. And it's taking me a lot of effort. Like creating content is actually much harder for me than doing a podcast interview or something. So it's like pulling teeth for me. And then I'm there and I'm like, people are not using it in a way that I hoped for. I had success stories. I had women, doing really great things, but I'm like, it's probably the 10% that are going to be successful anyway, whatever you put in front of them. And then there's always going to be 10% that never do anything. The people we need to focus on are the 80%. How do we get the 80% to do the work? And I realized that was on me. Like they had bought my program, and yes, I had all this amazing content, but something was missing to make them take action. So I was like thinking, as I'm thinking now, what's happening in the next 12 months? I was thinking like, what can I do? And when I get very frustrated, I get my best ideas. I was like, summer school. I got to put on a summer school. So I decided the program is called SOMBA, Sigruns Online MBA. And I decided SOMBA Summer School is coming. And I didn't tell them what it was. That was so cool. I wish I could relive this every summer. Like nobody knew what it was. They just knew that something exciting was coming. And then I announced it. You're going to create an online course this summer. It's 4 weeks. It's free. And I'm going to advertise it for you. And they're like, oh, and who's in? And then, half of the paying clients, this was only for paying clients. This wasn't free. This was 8 weeks at the time. And then later I changed it to 10 weeks. But this was the 10-week intensive that I created in 2018. First, it was just like a challenge inside my program. And I loved running it. It cost me a lot of energy. There was no content created. I just knew what they needed to do. And I was going to get them to do it. And they were not going to waste another summer doing nothing in their business. The following year, they were starting to send me emails in February, March, April. Are you doing it again? They were not doing anything. They waited for the next summer challenge. So I was like,
now they went from not doing anything in summer to not doing anything the rest of the year.
Well, maybe not. Maybe I'm exaggerating.
Maybe not so much.
Yeah. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. Anyway, they were super excited. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it again. And then another, also again, 50, 60% of people in the program participated, and amazing success stories. People having $10, $20, $30,000 launches after the summer, after a 4-week free course. I added a surprise. I'll teach you how to do an upsell. So it wasn't just about creating a course. They were learning how to sell another program right after the free course. So after that experience, I went to my mastermind and said, I think I'm onto something. It's this challenge type of a program inside my program that I think this is my real gem. And this is what I like. It's this energy. And I'm a little bit of a slave driver. I like to push people and inspire them to take action. This is much more me, but I cannot do this all the time. Like, this is tiring. And they said, just hire someone else to run it. And I'm like, can I do that? That feels like cheating. So I did. September 2019, I decided to change the name into SOMBA Kickstart. We created a 10-week intensive. And that's now my main program. This is where I have, I had a $1 million launch in last January. And this is my main program where I get people in and then they move through other programs with me. And so I went to the woman. Yeah, I also had a winner. I have someone who wins the whole competition, the challenge. So the winner from 2018, I went to her and said, would you willing to run this with me? So she became my first SOMBA head coach. at all in my business. Now I have, I don't know, I think I have 8 or 10 coaches on my team now. It's funny that was kind of I realized I couldn't do it on my own, and we started to do this together, and she became basically the program manager for this program. And, I created all the videos and all the content, and I'm active in the Facebook group, but I realized the coaching has to be done by someone else. So I can also, I cannot be this full on energy all the time, but it's amazing how this, has turned into my main program. Now, I decided to still run it in summer. So I have a January version, and then I have a June version, summer school, which I actually start in July, to be correct. And then I was thinking, okay, how do I launch this program? And then I was like, all these women are taking a break in the summer. So I was like, I'm going to do an online business summer school for free. Like I'm teaching them a 4-week training, and anyone can come and they will make progress in their business, whether they buy the program or not. And that's what I'm truly excited about. And I was looking at some statistics when I was like deciding this, and 90% of female owned businesses make them less than 6 figures.
90%?
Yeah, 90%.
That's insane.
And they have no employees.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help the economy, because I remember when I visit the US, the first thing they talk about when they're talking about the economy is how many jobs have been added. So if you're not adding a job to the economy, you're just a freelancer, really. You're not, you're not putting on the wheels. You're not helping others in that sense. And what shocked me even more, like 1/3 of businesses in the US are started by women, but they make 4% on the overall revenue. 4%. That is, and I started to think, okay. And then I read the book Outliers several years ago. Have you read that book?
I haven't, but it's in my book list. So it's like.
So now it's like
so
you make a highlight there.
Outliers.
Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. In the book, he talks about a study done in Baltimore about children and their reading skills. And it was about whether, rich or poor kids would fare better. It was a study around that, or middle class. And so they followed them for 4 years. And if you measured their reading skills at the beginning of the school year, at the end of the school year, it was similar. It didn't matter what background you had or what you did at home. What you learned in school seemed to be equal. Then they measured their reading skills from the end of the school year to the start of the school year over the summer. And the rich kids had improved their reading skills because their parents told them to read at home. Then, the school year came again, and, the kids caught up a little bit, the ones who had not been reading, but the others, of course, improved more and more and more. Over 4 years, it was a difference of what they called 52 points. I am now, this is my theory, and this is what I'm so excited about. And I've done a podcast episode on it, and probably this is going to be some sort of articles and essays. I am making these connections. I'm like, okay, Baltimore school kids. I have female entrepreneurs, and I don't care what their background is, rich, middle class, poor. That's not the issue here. Some take a break in the summer. Actually, most take a break in the summer. And those who don't, where do you think they're at? These are the ones that make 6 figures. The others, the 90%, are always below 6 figures because they take a break in the summer. So if I can do anything about that, if I can start to talk about it this way, I hope that others see it this way. Of course, we can take holiday. People are like, yeah, but my kids are on break.
1 week is everybody, even employees take it. But
yeah.
You're talking about July and August.
3-4 months. Yeah. If I talk to a woman in May, or let's say even April, if I talk to a woman in end of April, when are you going to do your next marketing campaign? And then they say September.
Yeah, that's true.
And that makes me furious.
Who want to pause in the summer.
Yeah. So my new tagline is, when others take a break, we build our business.
I love that. Love that. Love that. So thank you so much, Sigrun. You've shared so much of your journey and the information. And also for those listening, I want you to check out this summer program. This podcast is going to go out soon. I actually signed up for it myself. So we have Outlier as a book that everybody should go and get right away. I know you love the book, the 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. Where can people find you or even sign up for the summer program?
Yeah. Well, the best way to find me is, of course, the Sigrun Show podcast. If you're already listening to a podcast, it's likely you will like to listen to another one. And then I invite you to join the online business summer school program. It's running the whole month of June. And it's sigrun.com/join-summer school. And then, of course, you can check out my website, sigrun.com.
Awesome. Any parting words?
Don't take a break in the summer.
Love it. Have fun, but don't take a break in the summer.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Sigrun, for joining us and giving us this time with invaluable information.
Thank you so much for having me.
I just had the best conversation with Sigrun. And here's what we talked about. First of all, she told us a story about her Peloton bike. And if you've been following her online, you probably have heard parts of this. But in her story about her Peloton bike, she really breaks down what commitment actually looks like. Because what she shares is like she really wanted this Peloton bike. She wants that experience for working out. And getting a Peloton bike to Iceland is almost impossible right now because Peloton doesn't ship to Iceland, because it was a logistics nightmare. But all she needed to do is commit to getting that bike to her apartment in Iceland, and second, get creative on how to go about it. So I think the way she did it is she had it shipped from the US to Germany, which is what they do. And then in Germany, she found someone who knew a carpenter who picked up the bike from the port because it was shipped by boat, I guess, and grabbed the bike, built a custom wooden box for the bike so it wouldn't break, because Peloton sells it assembled, or they have to come and assemble it at your house, which obviously was not going to happen in Iceland. And so she had that box created for the bike, and then that box was shipped to Iceland, and the bike was all put together easy for her. It's a cute story, but what it really talks about is that the power of making things happen, the power of committing to an idea and a goal, and getting really creative around it. And so in our conversation, we also talked about one of the things that nobody's talking about, but she's adamant about bringing this conversation up around the gap that we have in women-owned businesses when women take the summer off. Yes, if you're a business owner and you're a woman, you know what I'm talking about. And many of us have this feeling, especially if you're a mom, that we tend to try to slow down when our kids are home in the summer. And it's great to take time with the family. That's not what she's talking about. She's not talking about not taking vacation. She's talking about that thing that we women business owners do, that we kind of disconnect and take the summer off. And in those summers off, we lose momentum in our business. So she's really talking about, the importance of being consistent and showing up for her work. And she's launching a product, a challenge of moving your business forward in the summer with her Zumba MBA. So if you haven't had time to review the whole interview yet, I highly suggest that you do, because there's so much richness in the insights that Sigrun shares with us. So go ahead, get cozy, and take notes.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Masters in Clarity. If you loved today's show, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Share this episode with 2 people in your world, and as a gift, go to mastersinclarity.com/free to download free clarity resources. Join your host, Dolores Hirschmann, next time to continue forging a clear path to your impactful success.